Have you ever watched what looked like the perfect Hollywood love story, only to wake up one morning and find the internet convinced it was already falling apart? That's exactly what's happening right now. Just when fans were celebrating Jennifer Hudson and Common as one of entertainment's most mature and inspiring couples, social media exploded with fresh rumors, wild theories, and countless questions that nobody seems able to answer. Only a short time ago, Common was publicly speaking about Jennifer with genuine admiration. During interviews, he described her as an incredible partner, praised her character, and even suggested that if marriage were ever in his future, she would be the person he'd want to spend the rest of his life with. Those comments gave fans hope that perhaps both stars had finally found lasting happiness after years of highly publicized relationships and personal challenges. But Hollywood has a way of turning fairy tales into mysteries overnight. Now every public appearance, or lack of one, is being analyzed. Every social media post is being dissected. Every interview is being replayed. Fans aren't just asking whether the relationship is still going strong. They're trying to figure out what changed so quickly. The truth is that nobody outside Jennifer Hudson and Common truly knows what is happening behind closed doors. Yet that hasn't stopped speculation from spreading across blogs, entertainment channels, and social media feeds at lightning speed. Whenever two celebrities become one of Hollywood's favorite couples, expectations immediately become enormous. Every smile becomes evidence that everything is perfect. Every serious expression becomes proof that something must be wrong. Before long, ordinary moments become headline news. That's exactly where Jennifer and Common find themselves today. Their relationship always seemed different from the typical celebrity romance. Neither of them appeared interested in constant public attention. Instead, they often spoke about peace, maturity, personal growth, and building healthy relationships after learning difficult lessons from previous experiences. That image resonated with millions of people. Jennifer Hudson has overcome extraordinary challenges throughout her life and career. From becoming an Academy Award-winning performer to building a successful television career, she's repeatedly shown remarkable resilience. Fans have admired not only her talent, but also her ability to keep moving forward despite painful chapters in her personal life. Common, meanwhile, has long been recognized as one of hip-hop's most thoughtful voices. Throughout his career, he's spoken openly about self-improvement, therapy, emotional growth, and learning from past mistakes. In multiple interviews, he acknowledged that relationships had not always been his strongest area and admitted he had patterns he needed to understand and change. Those admissions actually earned him respect from many fans. Rather than pretending he'd always had the answers, he openly discussed working with therapists and learning why some of his relationships failed. He described recognizing unhealthy habits and wanting to become a better partner in the future. When Jennifer entered the picture, many people believed they were watching the beginning of an entirely new chapter. The timing seemed almost perfect. Here were two accomplished individuals who had experienced heartbreak, public scrutiny, and enormous professional success. Instead of rushing into the spotlight, they appeared to be building something slowly and intentionally. As interviews continued, Common spoke warmly about Jennifer. His compliments didn't focus only on her accomplishments or appearance. He emphasized her kindness, her spirit, and the person she was away from cameras. Naturally, fans began wondering whether wedding bells might eventually follow. Those conversations became even louder after Common publicly acknowledged that marriage remained something he hoped to experience one day. While he made it clear that such a commitment required careful thought, his comments about Jennifer encouraged supporters to believe that perhaps they were witnessing the relationship that would finally last. For many viewers, it sounded like confidence. For others, it sounded like optimism. Either way, the message was clear. This relationship appeared meaningful. But celebrity relationships rarely exist in a vacuum. Every past romance eventually becomes part of the conversation. Common's dating history has been discussed for years. Over time, he has been linked to several well-known women, each relationship attracting intense media attention. While many of those romances appeared promising, none ultimately resulted in marriage. That history has led some observers to question whether Common simply takes longer than most people to settle down, or whether lasting commitment has always been a challenge for him. To his credit, he hasn't completely avoided that conversation. Instead, he has spoken honestly about recognizing certain emotional patterns in his own life. He once explained that the excitement of a new relationship could sometimes be easier to maintain than the deeper work required after the initial excitement fades. Many relationship experts say that kind of self-awareness is actually an important first step toward meaningful change. Still, fans couldn't help wondering whether insight alone would be enough. Could someone truly leave old habits behind? Or would history eventually repeat itself? Those questions have become central to the online conversation surrounding Jennifer and Common. Meanwhile, Jennifer Hudson entered this relationship carrying her own experiences. Her previous long-term relationship with David Odunga received significant public attention, particularly during its difficult ending. After spending years together and becoming engaged, the relationship ultimately concluded amid legal disputes and conflicting public claims. The situation was painful for everyone involved and attracted extensive media coverage. Since then, Jennifer has appeared more protective of her personal life, choosing carefully what she shares publicly and what she prefers to keep private. That approach has earned respect from many fans. Instead of responding to every rumor or headline, she has generally allowed her work to speak louder than speculation. Yet when someone with that level of privacy enters a high-profile romance, curiosity naturally follows. As Jennifer and Common continued appearing together, supporters celebrated what seemed like two people who understood each other's journeys. Their conversations often reflected maturity rather than drama. They discussed gratitude, growth, healing, and finding happiness later in life. Those themes made their relationship feel refreshingly different from many celebrity romances dominated by constant headlines. Ironically, that same reputation has made today's rumors feel even more dramatic. The less Jennifer and Common say publicly, the more room the internet creates for its own theories. Some fans insist everything is perfectly fine, and that people are simply reading too much into ordinary moments. Others believe the recent silence means something significant has changed. At this stage, however, neither Jennifer Hudson nor Common has confirmed the claims circulating online, making it important to separate speculation from verified information. That distinction often disappears once social media gets involved. A single anonymous post quickly becomes dozens of reaction videos. One rumor becomes hundreds of reposts. Soon, people begin treating possibilities as though they are established facts. That's the world celebrity couples live in today. Whether fair or unfair, every decision they make becomes part of a much larger public narrative. And for Jennifer Hudson and Common, that narrative appears to be entering its most uncertain chapter yet. As more online discussions continue to unfold, fans are left asking one simple question. Are we witnessing the natural ups and downs of a private relationship being exaggerated by the internet? Or is there genuinely more happening behind the scenes than either star has chosen to reveal? As the speculation continued to spread, people started looking beyond the headlines and focusing on something else entirely: patterns. In Hollywood, fans often believe the past has a way of predicting the future, and that's exactly why so many people began revisiting Common's relationship history. It's impossible to ignore that Common has been connected to several remarkable women throughout his life. Every relationship seemed to begin with excitement and genuine admiration. For a while, everything appeared promising. Then, eventually, the relationship would quietly come to an end, leaving fans asking the same question over and over again: what happened? That recurring question has followed Common for years. Interestingly, he has never portrayed himself as someone who always gets relationships right. In fact, he's been refreshingly candid about the personal work he's had to do. During interviews promoting his memoir, he discussed therapy, emotional growth, and recognizing unhealthy relationship patterns that had affected his past. One of his most talked about admissions involved what he described as becoming attached to the excitement of new love. He explained that the beginning of a relationship often brings an emotional high. Everything feels effortless, conversations are exciting, and every moment seems filled with possibility. But eventually, every relationship reaches a stage where excitement is replaced by consistency, compromise, and everyday life. According to Common, that's where he realized he had struggled in the past. Rather than viewing that confession as a weakness, many fans applauded his honesty. After all, very few public figures openly admit their own shortcomings without trying to shift blame elsewhere. That honesty became one of the reasons people believed Jennifer Hudson might truly be different. If anyone could appreciate someone committed to personal growth, many assumed it would be Jennifer. She's never presented herself as someone chasing publicity. Instead, throughout her career, she's consistently emphasized family, faith, hard work, and protecting her peace. Those values seem to align remarkably well with the version of Common that audiences had recently gotten to know. When he publicly praised Jennifer, people didn't hear someone casually complimenting a girlfriend. They heard someone speaking with purpose. They heard admiration, respect, gratitude. Naturally, conversations about marriage became impossible to avoid. When asked whether he still hoped to become a husband one day, Common answered thoughtfully. He explained that marriage wasn't a decision to take lightly, but if he were ever to make that commitment, Jennifer Hudson was the person he envisioned beside him. That statement quickly spread across entertainment media. Fans celebrated. Comment sections filled with congratulations long before any engagement had actually happened. For many observers, it sounded less like speculation and more like a glimpse into the couple's future. But relationships don't exist only in interviews. They exist in everyday life. And everyday life is far more complicated than a few carefully chosen public statements. As months passed, online communities began noticing what they believed were subtle changes. Some pointed out that Jennifer and Common weren't appearing together as frequently. Others believed their public interactions felt less affectionate than before. A few even started analyzing body language from brief event appearances, convinced they could detect growing distance. Of course, body language analysis has become one of the internet's favorite hobbies. A single photograph can generate thousands of theories. Someone looking away for 1 second suddenly becomes proof of relationship trouble. A missed public appearance becomes evidence of an argument. The reality, however, is often much less dramatic. Celebrities have demanding schedules. Jennifer continues balancing television, music, and numerous professional commitments. Common remains active in music, acting, writing, and producing. Busy careers naturally reduce the amount of time couples spend making public appearances together. Still, once speculation begins, every ordinary circumstance becomes part of a much larger story. Then another rumor began circulating. Some online commentators claimed Jennifer may have been hesitant about taking the relationship to the next level. It's important to emphasize that these claims remain unverified. Neither Jennifer nor Common has publicly confirmed such reports. Even so, the theory gained traction because many people viewed it through the lens of Jennifer's past. Her previous engagement lasted nearly a decade before ending painfully. Experiences like that often change a person's perspective on commitment. Some people become eager to try again. Others become much more cautious before making lifelong promises. Many fans argued that if Jennifer was taking her time, it wouldn't necessarily indicate uncertainty about Common. It could simply reflect lessons learned through experience. After enduring a difficult public breakup, careful decision-making would be completely understandable. Others interpreted the situation differently. They believed Common's own romantic history might naturally encourage anyone to proceed carefully before discussing marriage. Again, none of these interpretations have been confirmed by either person involved. They're simply examples of how audiences often fill informational gaps with personal assumptions. That's one of the most fascinating aspects of celebrity culture. Silence rarely remains silent for long. If celebrities don't tell the story themselves, millions of strangers begin writing it for them. Meanwhile, Jennifer continued focusing on her career. Her talk show remained successful. Her public appearances reflected confidence and professionalism. She rarely addressed relationship rumors directly, choosing instead to highlight positivity, gratitude, and personal growth. That decision only intensified online curiosity. Some viewers interpreted motivational messages as subtle references to her personal life. Others argued that inspirational quotes were simply part of Jennifer's personality and shouldn't automatically be connected to relationship gossip. Without direct confirmation, both interpretations remain speculative. Common adopted a similarly reserved approach. Rather than responding to every headline, he largely stayed focused on his own work. For some fans, that silence suggested maturity. For others, it created even more mystery. After all, unanswered questions often become the internet's favorite topic of conversation. Soon, entertainment blogs began presenting dramatically different versions of the same story. One article portrayed Jennifer as someone protecting her heart after years of disappointment. Another suggested Common was simply concentrating on his career. Others implied the couple had quietly decided to keep their relationship more private than before. The remarkable part wasn't that people had different opinions. It was how confidently those opinions were presented despite so little verified information. That's the challenge with modern celebrity coverage. Verified facts frequently become surrounded by layers of speculation, interpretation, anonymous sources, and social media theories until audiences struggle to distinguish one from the other. Jennifer and Common found themselves at the center of exactly that situation. Two respected entertainers. One highly visible relationship. Countless unanswered questions. And an internet determined to solve a mystery without having access to the full story. Whether the relationship was thriving privately or experiencing genuine challenges, only the people involved truly knew the answer. Everyone else was simply trying to connect dots that might not even belong on the same page. Yet despite all the noise, one thing remained undeniable. Both Jennifer Hudson and Common had spent years building careers based on talent, resilience, and authenticity. Their professional accomplishments couldn't be erased by rumors. Nor could years of personal growth be accurately summarized through anonymous online speculation. Still, the conversation wasn't slowing down. If anything, it was only becoming louder. Because once fans start believing there's a hidden story waiting to be uncovered, they rarely stop searching until someone finally speaks. And as more days passed without either Jennifer or Common directly addressing the rumors, anticipation reached an entirely new level. People weren't just waiting for another photograph. They weren't just looking for another interview. They were waiting for something far more powerful. A definitive answer that would finally separate fact from fiction and reveal whether Hollywood's most talked about relationship was truly facing its biggest test, or whether the internet had once again mistaken silence for scandal.